Hi, I'm Sean. So it's been about 2 years since the last Sandman video, which was definitely not the plan, but here we are. Quite a bit has happened in the last 2 years, um, and I want to go through things. I'm not going to cover everything in detail, but here's kind of a peek into what's been happening. To start off with, I added a feature to Sandman where it will record the events that are happening when you're using Sandman. For example, if you move the bed, it will record that in a report file, and then you can actually view those events in a web page that looks like this. Um, this feature is something that I think would be great to do a whole nother video on, so I'm not going to go into a ton of detail here, but um, this was kind of a really cool analytical feature that I put a bunch of work into. All right, next up we have a case that my buddy and collaborator Isaac designed and 3D printed. In this first picture here, you can see the bottom of the case with the Raspberry Pi and the relays and some of the other components sitting inside there. And then in this next picture here is the completed case with the cover on. I think this turned out really cool, so I thought people would like to see it. Okay, and now we have the status page for the website of Sandman that my friend and collaborator Wyatt built. It just shows, the different components of Sandman that are running. Okay, another thing that I did was to move Sandman into a new home on GitHub under its own project. Previously, it was part of my personal repositories, but now it has a nice project setup where it can live and grow from here on out. Okay, and this was a huge effort to convert Sandman to Python. It took a little over a year. Um, there were a couple of reasons that I wanted to do this. Projects of this type tend to be done in Python because it's more approachable for collaborators. Previously, the main component of Sandman was written in C++, and while that was initially pretty good for me because I was very familiar with C++, it tended to be a bit more of a barrier for entry for people who wanted to contribute. It also is a little bit better suited to Python because of some of the libraries and things that it needs to use behind the scenes. So there were a number of benefits that came along with switching to Python. Because I rewrote the code more or less from scratch, I was able to do things a bit better the second time around, having learned from not only the years of experience, but also different ways of doing things and thinking things through again. I also did this with test-driven development. So there's nice tests for all the pieces of Sandman, and it was easier to add coding standards as well. And there were a few cases where actually some features were ended up being more fully fleshed out than they were before as well. So that's good as well. And this process is pretty much finished. There's a few loose ends to tie up that have come from this conversion. And there's one feature that I chose not to re-implement, and that's the controller feature. If there's a use case and a demand for that in the future, then probably that will get added back. But at the time being, it doesn't seem that important, so we'll just let it be. Okay, so that gives you a pretty good idea of some of the highlights, what have happened over the past 2 years. So let's talk about like the plans for the future. So on the Sandman website, there's a bunch of updates that need to be done. Like I said, there's some loose ends to tie up from the Python conversion, but there's also plenty of new features that need to be implemented as well. For example, the ability to specify routines in the through the web interface, and that is something that probably deserves more information in the future as well. Um, and then another big goal is to add Home Assistant integration. Um, some people may remember that there used to be integration with like Echo and so on and so forth. That was done through a library that is now defunct. And so um, I've been learning more about Home Assistant, and I think there is potential to add something really cool by integrating Sandman into that. And then, like I said before, it was not my intent to, have a 2 year gap in between videos. So it would be good if we can get some more videos out in the future to talk about some of these different features of Sandman, but also, um, keep everyone updated on what's happening. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching.